probably one of the games of the weekend, but it's a 3:00 kickoff here. It's Manchester United versus Brighton. We will take a look at the betting that we currently have on matchbook.com. Manchester United 2.22, Brighton 3.25. The draw is 4.0. Both teams to score very short again. It's been the theme of this Premier League season. 1.47 now. No, it's 2.9. The Asian handicap line sees Brighton get a quarter of a goal head start at just over evens, or at evens, 2.0. And the goal line here, very high. It's 3.5, shaded a bit towards the under. The under is around 1.76. So, Mark, kick us off. Look, we've had the international break. Not much has changed in terms of domestic action here. So it's maybe refresh our minds in terms of what has happened. But Evan Ferguson got his hat-trick. Brighton looked very impressive against Newcastle. And look, they're probably looking to get a result here at Old Trafford.
Yeah, they should be. Obviously, won at Old Trafford in the early stages of Ten Hag's reign. Was it the opening day last season? I think it was.
Yes, 2-0 or 2-1, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'll cut to the chase. I don't want to be with Man United here at the prices. The price suggests that they are very slightly the better team right now. I'm not sure that's something that I could agree with. And let's not forget, it wasn't long ago, back in April, these two teams met at a neutral venue at Wembley in the FA Cup semi-final. And it was Brighton who went off favourites. And I'm not sure the two teams have flip-flopped dramatically since then to suggest that United do deserve to be this price. And I went into the season feeling a little like United were probably flying a little bit under the radar. A third place finish, 2 cup finals, a trophy. It was a very solid first season for Ten Hag without really excelling. But they did finally appear to be on some sort of path to progress. But obviously, on and off-field issues have really dragged them down over the past couple of months. The takeover not going through, and clearly some other issues which we won't talk about as well, which may be affecting things. By the first half at Spurs, have they done much to kind of impress or kind of garner really strong interest from a betting perspective? Not really for me. Of course, they have that excellent home record at Old Trafford, and they're already 2 from 2 this season, but neither victory convinced. They've already conceded twice or more in 3 of their opening 4 Premier League games, giving up an average of 1.89 non-penalty expected goals. And against Arsenal, I thought United looked possibly at their best when counter-attacking. But that's not kind of been their go-to style or approach under Ten Hag. And I'm just kind of struggling to work out what they're trying to achieve. And Lisandro Martinez should be back, but Varane is still missing. Unsure whether Amrabat is able to feature. He's been kind of had a bit of a doubt and knock around him recently too. So I still think defensively they're very vulnerable, and there's a few teams you want to play against when you're looking a bit fragile at the back than Brighton at the minute who just love to attack and score goals and create opportunities, as we talk about week on week really. So I'm going to take Brighton plus half a goal, trading just around 1.8, 1.78, 1.8. Brighton did only lose 3 times in their 10 fixtures against the top 5 last season. They won at Arsenal, admittedly, when the Gunners were going through a low ebb towards the end of the campaign. They won at United at the start of the season. Drew at Anfield, though, and played very well that day. And they've averaged 2 goals per game in 17 away Premier League games under De Zerbi. So they failed to score just once on trips to the top half. And going forward, I really think they'll get on the score sheet here, and they will cause Man United problems. At the moment, they are second in the non-penalty expected goals output charts. Actually top of the league for shots, on-target attempts and efforts from inside the penalty area. They're also second in big chances created. So, as I say, I think they'll score at Old Trafford, and then when you do score, you've got a decent chance of avoiding defeat. So, just not too impressed by Manchester United right now. I think this could be a good game. The goal lines are obviously quite high, but I want to side with Brighton as underdogs.
Okay, yeah, Brighton plus half a goal, as Mark alluded to, around the 1.8 mark. Over to you, Adrian, and Manchester United. Look, if they'd gotten that winner at the Emirates, maybe the narrative going into this game could be a small bit different. But I guess that was a different performance, or a different type of performance away from home against one of the title-chasing teams, I guess. And at home to a team like Brighton, are they capable of creating chances, creating results? And do you see maybe De Zerbi's Brighton dominating this game, perhaps?
Yeah, they didn't get that second goal, did they? It was offside. So we all know what happened next. It was fantastic. And very, very funny from anyone of an Arsenal persuasion. So,
and Adrian, you celebrated it accordingly. We saw some great clips of you on social
media.
Media.
Got a bit
great to see. Football fan at the end of the day,
Yeah, got a bit carried away, but it was all good. No, look, I was a bit torn over Manchester United's performance. I think in general I was a bit underwhelmed by it. He had a lot of the ball and didn't go anywhere in that game. And but on the counter, they did pose a threat, and we saw what West Ham did to Brighton on the counter-attack, didn't we? So if Brighton do take control of the game, and if Ten Hag lets them have it, then United may look to do what West Ham did to the Seagulls at the Amex. So, yeah, they need to be careful. Brighton here, clearly. But going forward, there's not a lot wrong with Manchester United. Rashford starting to come into some form. I thought he played pretty well for England against Scotland. Højlund looked very dangerous when he came on in that game. So he's a boost to them, isn't he? So I think they can score in the game. They have scored in 36 of their last 40 Premier League games at home. So, that's not bad going at all. And I think that they can obviously make this a difficult game for Brighton. But I'm with Mark. I fancy the Seagulls here to cause a potential upset. Brighton have scored in all but one of their last 20 Premier League away games. And look at the price on my selection on the screen. Brighton and both teams to score, yes, 5.1. Now, both teams to score is unbackable at the moment, as it is in a lot of matches, by the way. Yeah. They've really been trimmed in, haven't they, those prices? But as I've just said, Brighton have scored in 19 of the last 20 away games. I think my stat there should have read 16 of 20 at home. Manchester United have scored in. So they've got a very, very good chance of scoring as well. So if we're getting both teams to score on side at a short price, then to get the Brighton win for it to leap to 5.1, I think is very, very good. I think stylistically, Brighton have the tools to hurt Man United, who are trying to play out from the back. That was one thing I really noticed in the game. Onana putting his foot on the ball, very casual at times, isn't he? But he's a good passer out from the back. But I still don't think Manchester United have nailed it in terms of the way they move it from the back. And Brighton are very good pressing side, aren't they? Arguably the best in the division. They have produced more high turnovers, Brighton, than any other team in the Premier League so far this season. So they're going to play on Onana big time. So when he has it, they're going to squeeze up and look to nick the ball back. Look, I think going with a pick like Mark's is much safer. Clearly, Brighton in over 1.5 is 3.75. That's something to consider. But I just felt that 5.1. I can see Brighton winning this 2-1, 3-1, 3-2. Any of those score lines I think is eminently doable, especially with Manchester United having injuries in defence. Evans and Maguire finished the last game. Dalot and Wan-Bissaka with the fullbacks. If Amrabat isn't fit to play, it's asking an awful lot of Casemiro again to handle Brighton's midfield. I think Brighton can score twice here. Not so sure they'll keep a clean sheet. They don't have that many of those away from home. So yeah, I'm going to go with Brighton and BTTS. It's a bold one, but I like it.
Yeah, well, just on the price, Adrian, 5.1, looking at the odds checker grid there while you're talking, 4.75 is the standout price. General price around 4.5, 4.3, 4.4. So it is quite a boost there, 5.1 on the matchable betting exchange. And when the liquidity comes into the market right before kickoff, do check that out and check out all our markets on the matchable betting exchange. We will lock Mark's official bet in for Brighton. Plus half a goal is a safer option. But if you want a fun bet to cheer on at 3 o'clock Saturday, even though you probably won't be able to watch it in the UK, Brighton win and both teams to score. Yeah.